Okay, we will begin the meeting. We begin our 5 o'clock meeting at 5:13. We have 2 excused absences. We have Dan Vink and Patrick. John is with us, but he is on the phone and probably won't be able to be part of the conversation, but he will be able to vote.
I can't hear him. Interesting.
2 changes to the agenda. Item 17 will be removed from the agenda for this week. And we're adding item 23, which is a review of the AC policy changes that were presented earlier in the year. And we had one or two minor changes that the ACC is going to look at today. So can I get a motion to approve the new agenda?
I'll motion to approve the modified agenda as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
John says he approves.
Okay, we're in.
Is that unanimous?
Yes. Item 2 is approval of the 8/01/24 ACC meeting minutes. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the minutes of 8/1/24.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep, he said yes.
All right, we'll move down to item 19. A driveway. Mark?
Basically the original site plan is missing a tree, and the driveway the driveway the way it was drawn the first time didn't really work because we didn't cut down that tree, so we had to shift the driveway over.
So you actually put a little notch in it and also angled it? Is that it?
Yeah, and the driveway area actually decreased by a little bit. Not sure exactly how much.
Yep. Bill, did you see this one at all? Did you have any comments about this?
I'll share my screen. Share my screen.
Mark, did we request this or? I don't know. Did we-
Joel did. We asked to
Mhm.
support the way it was, but he said to submit a revision. So.
Yeah, there was a question about driveway changes being made, and I recommended they submit to ACC for approval before making those changes. And so that's why we're here today.
Yeah.
But I don't see any issues with it. It seems to meet policy requirements for.
Anybody else have any
Anything else?
issues or anything to talk about with this one?
I'd like to thank you for accommodating our request. Appreciate that. Jury appreciates that too.
Can hear
Get a
it.
motion?
I will. I'll motion to accept item 19 as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
He's an aye. Is that unanimous?
He said aye.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Item 9. 15 Lookout Mountain. Is Holly here?
looking to flatten out our backyard a little bit with a retaining wall and build a fence for our dogs.
Speak into the mic, please.
Sorry about that. Yeah, looking to build a retaining wall in order to flatten our backyard and make it a little bit more usable and build a fence for our dogs. Wooden hog wire.
Yeah, we had questions about, so you're gonna flatten the yard out,
Yes.
put a, I think it was a stone wall,
Yeah,
and then a wooden wire on top of that?
not right on top of the retaining wall. It'll be set back from the retaining wall slightly.
Okay. And as far as, property lines, what's the situation with that?
So I did request somewhat of a variance due to our propane tank. So requesting a 3-foot variance. The retaining wall will be pretty close to the property line, within 6 inches to a foot of the property line. And then we'll have the fence approximately 3 feet back from the property line.
Have you spoken to neighbors about this?
The neighbor to our left, I think of, if you're looking at our house. But behind us is there's a green space kind of buffer between our house and the house behind us.
Oh, that's a green space there?
That's what I was told when we moved in. They've been planting some trees back there because that house is relatively new. So I know they don't really like looking at our propane tank in our weedy backyard right now.
Yeah, it has been problematic in the past to have variances with fences, especially without neighbors' written approval.
Okay.
We'd probably require that. So again, you said you'd have the stone wall and then the fence would be how far from the actual wall?
Yeah, it would not be directly on top of the wall.
Like, how far?
A couple of feet, probably 2 feet.
Testing. Check. Testing. Check.
So we generally, it's a 5-foot from the setback that we require. Why would it need to be 3 feet from the back?
Primarily for the propane tank, so it's not right up against the propane tank. At 5 feet, it would be,
Also, the 3 on the left side and on the back are because of the propane tank?
well, keep it uniform all the way around. If we need to adjust slightly the other sides of it, I'd be willing to do that.
So if you have the propane tank there, where would the wooden wire fence go?
Around on the outside of the propane tank. I don't know if I understand. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about the, how high the stone wall will be and then a wooden wire. Will that be like a huge barrier for all the neighbors? So the stone fence would be how high?
It won't be any higher than 3.5 feet at any
3.5
point.
feet.
I'm
And
kind of
then-
leaving it up to the
Then,
Stone wall, 3.5 feet.
stone wall. Yes.
Right.
I'm sorry. And the fence, no higher than, it'll be 5 feet
Okay.
for the dogs. But I'm using a company to do the retaining wall, so leaving it up to their, but
I
they,
had a question about the leveling.
Mhm.
With the propane tank pretty much fixed, you're not going to mess with that level. Is the rest of the yard and the platform going to be around it or?
it's more the other end of the yard from where the propane tank was
Yeah.
that has the real steep decline. So they're basically going to be leveling it out. So it will match the level of the propane tank or where the propane tank is sitting right now.
So you have a deck on the side of the house, right?
Yes.
Is the other platform going to be level with that, below that? Just roughly?
Oh, like when we fill it in
Yeah.
with, it will still be below that. It won't be any higher than where it is up against the house
That's
currently.
where I'm going.
Okay.
Because if it was going to be at that level, significant.
Oh, yeah. No, it will not be that level.
I was off topic.
yeah, my concern was that, I think the fence has to be 5 feet, but it has to start within what, how far away from the fence is it measured? Like if there's a berm,
Oh, the size of the fence, if there is a berm. See if I can just search berm. And non-vegetated fences. Let me share this on the screen.
yeah, my main concern with this is that, you know, a 5-foot fence is fine, but that's on sort of a flat um, starting point. But if you have the berm, which would be the 3-foot stone wall, that would end up being like an 8-foot fence. And
I guess we're looking at is once the backyard is more level, then the fence will be relatively level across our backyard as opposed to having that steep drop and having the fence down
Sure,
below
yeah.
the rest of the yard.
I'm thinking about the perspective of your neighbors. Would they be looking at 3 feet and then another 5 feet? So the proximity of the wooden wire to the stone is what I'm concerned about.
Okay.
And I'm looking at our policies right now about
Question on the policy, it said in addition to the height of the berm, but if you're going to take the berm out to level it down, doesn't that negate it?
well, I would consider the fence. I mean, if you would have to measure from the other side of the stone fence, I would think.
Right.
And that's what I'm questioning.
Okay.
And that's what we're confirming here. So I mean, Joel, what is your reading of a stone fence with built up land? I mean, that would be a berm, wouldn't it?
Maybe.
I mean, if you're building up the earth around it, and it has to be, let's see, if it's on a berm.
I guess my question would be, I mean, if we were to build a fence further in where it is already a little bit flat, then we wouldn't have the retaining wall. If you didn't have the retaining wall there, it's still going to be 3 feet up from where the neighbors are looking, if that makes sense. So
Right,
I
yeah,
think the retaining wall would make it look nicer.
No, I agree. I think it would look nice. My only concern is how far away the wooden wire would be from the stone wall. So it's not considered a berm. So
Mhm.
you don't have the 8-foot high fence.
Okay.
So,
If it was 3 feet back, would that be at least as much as we can do around the propane tank? I don't want it too tight around the propane tank, but once we get away from the propane tank, if it's 3 to 4 feet back from the retaining wall, would that suffice?
that sounds right, but I think I would still like to see you get permission from the neighbors because this could be an imposing structure. And we have run into problems before where we would approve a fence that was near or on the property line.
Okay,
then-
if it is technically green space, will we still have to get neighbors?
Well,
approval?
the neighbors would be seeing it.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure, I mean, that would probably be a kind of narrow green space. Remember that, Alan?
Yeah. Your downhill neighbor seemed agreeable to it. He's like,
Yeah,
whatever.
okay, yeah,
yeah, we spoke to them.
okay, good.
And they would be the ones that would be, I think,
They'd certainly be seeing it more than anyone
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
and the slope would be most dramatic with them. So, but I would like to see written approval from
Okay.
them.
Okay, I'll reach out to them.
Does anybody have any other issues with the design as it is? I mean, what are we talking about as far as requirements for the wooden wire away from the stone wall? Is it illustrated there in any way, the difference between the stone wall and the wooden wire?
Oh, not specifically there. The retaining wall will be a natural stone retaining wall. And then, yeah, I mean, it's just noted, the retaining walls in red there and the
So your
fence is in blue.
3 feet is from the property line
Mhm.
or the platform, And somewhere between 3 feet, you're going to have a stone wall.
Yes, but we can come back a little bit on that variance if we need to.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that's kind of a permanent structure as far as the fence goes. For variance.
John has an opinion. Gotta get it. He says, my opinion, both the wall and fence should not be in the setback.
So starting the stone wall 5 feet from the back. Is
Property
John's opinion,
from the property line.
from the property line, yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree because we have had problems with neighbors being very upset about this. And, eventually it won't just be you two, it'll probably be some other neighbors living there and you'll be stuck with it. So the propane tank is essentially the issue for you.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, if we had to start the retaining wall 5 feet back, and then there's 5 feet of basically yard that looks like our yard right now. That's part of what I'm trying to get that all landscaped and looking nice. And then it feels like we're just kind of ceding 5 feet of our
Would you feel-
property to
Got,
green space.
sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
How would you feel if you got written approval by the neighbor, the downhill neighbor?
I mean, that is a green space too. So I'd feel better about that. I definitely would need a letter from the
Okay,
neighbor.
I will definitely reach out to them and get.
And
that for us.
maybe even a drawing that shows the stone fence and the wooden wire, just so we have a document that we are approving.
Okay,
If you could resubmit that with those two things, that would be helpful for us because, I mean, at the end of the day, we're signing off on this and we need an actual document. That we would all agree on.
okay, like what they're actually going to look like as far as once
Be a
the,
little more specific.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you used the same drawing for all 3 requests, and I think I'd like to see, as you said,
okay,
more granular delineation between line, rock wall, platform,
Yeah, exactly.
measurements.
okay.
And
Does she have a green space back there? John is saying she doesn't have a green space back there. Can you double check?
It's not a green space?
Uh,
Well, I think we would probably not approve it this time, but with that information, and then we'll look into the green space.
Okay.
issue.
And would I have to wait until next month or if I do
2
it
weeks.
2 weeks? Okay,
It's actually 3.
Okay. 3 weeks, I'm sorry.
okay,
Yeah, because these are essentially documents that we're signing and we just need a little more clarity on it.
okay. All right. Anything else from me for now?
the
Yeah.
others,
I'm sorry.
9, 10, 11.
Yeah, those are all connected, correct?
Yeah. So same for all 3?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
We're getting there. Yeah, so 11 is actually the variance, 10 is the wooden wire fence, 5 feet tall. Yeah, okay, so we'll probably just deny all today.
Sure. So
Do each one.
with our discussion, we're denying your requests 9, 10, and 11
Okay.
to be revised with a more detailed drawing and an agreement by your neighbor, downhill neighbor. Side hills, side neighbors? I think downhill is with your downhill neighbor,
Okay,
right? And if you get that and resubmit it, take a look at it at the next meeting.
thank you.
All in favor of that motion? Aye.
I,
Proof.
Okay.
Alan, John says, please get closer to the mic. He can't hear you.
Will do. Will do.
Okay, let's move down to item 12, 17 Rocky Ridge Drive. Stairs and landscaping. Joel, you're familiar with this one, right?
What's that?
Yeah, in essence, I don't have an issue with it, but I did want to confirm that it is a proper wall. That's a lot of dirt up there. There's a lot of, there's some trees there. I think those trees had been approved to be taken down, but
If
we're
needed.
trying to hold on to them.
I'm trying, yeah, as much as possible. We're pretty much done with taking trees out, but I'm gonna have the arborist look at those two that were back there. Cause I've had multiple people tell me they think they lean too much toward the house.
Okay, but they were approved already.
They were already approved to be taken out. Yes,
Um,
We understood you wanted us to take out as soon as possible.
that's been our.
Yeah, we appreciate that. No,
We've tried to not take out trees as much as possible.
that's very much appreciated. But yeah, I mean, that's a lot of dirt.
Yes.
We do get some changes occasionally where people decide they don't need to take the wall out. And I don't know who's making that decision, if it's an engineer, Joel, are you helping them make that decision or?
No.
I mean, I'd like to see possibly an engineer approve this because I was impressed by how much dirt is still up there and that it's still up there, especially with those trees there.
Yeah.
So I hate to cavalierly approve not doing a wall that was originally approved.
Yeah, my understanding.
So I don't want to be the one to make that decision. I couldn't approve it until I saw maybe an engineer's drawing.
Okay. Yeah, I
approval.
was told it just wasn't structurally necessary. That's what I know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Um,
sure who said that. And Joel, do you know anything about that decision to remove that?
It would be a rock wall. I'm not versed on the details of engineering with a rock wall. Certainly a wall is needed. And we did review this when it first came in. And there were other things that wanted to be done here with the construction change requests. And it seems like they want to get this project final with Sudden Valley. So we recommended back, here's probably the minimum that needs to be done. And that included get a retaining wall up here, include that as part of the submittal. So certainly one's needed in order to final it out. We wouldn't be able to leave it as is. But as far as how much engineering is required for a rock wall, I don't know the answer to that question now.
Well, I mean, we did
We could
approve
find
a concrete wall, right?
Yeah, I think so. Originally, there was a
Yeah,
concrete wall going back
That's
there.
what that's what the designer drew. I've not talked to everyone I know, but everyone I've talked to has told me that was completely unnecessary, especially because the house sits on a giant rock. The
When we say everybody,
builder,
Specifically, we mean the builder and what, 3 landscaping companies?
quite a few people.
5? No, 4.
I
4
lost-
landscapes.
lost track.
Well, the original concrete wall was approved by an engineer. They looked at it and we approved it also.
Yeah,
I would like to maybe have that same engineer say we don't need it. I mean, I can't make the determination. Aesthetically, I think it's a good idea, but I mean, that is a lot of dirt.
okay.
So if there's a change to the original drawings, I'd probably like to see an engineer.
I can find out if that has already gone through or not. Because when I talked to my builder, he seemed to understand that it was completely not needed.
Yeah. Looks like if it's going to be more than 4 feet tall, I think you do need
That's what I
to
was
have
wondering.
engineering.
So
It's a rock wall.
the rock wall will only be 4 feet tall, and then I think all the landscapers I talked about wanted to put some, proper fabric and drainage situation against the sand there, and then add dirt to make it kind of not so steep from the 4 feet up to the back.
Mhm.
So about, I don't know if that would change the height, because my brain is not really jumping around correctly right now, but when you look at it, this is from the side on, when you look at it straight, if you were looking at it straight on in that corner, it would level out that top a little more so that it's not just like a straight wall of sand.
So it sounds like you'd have your retaining wall 4 feet high,
Yes.
and then you'd backfill it with dirt, and that would slope
Yeah.
up to the
It
existing
would all,
slope.
it would all be done so that it would drain properly and not have just water collecting down there. Because that's what we wouldn't want that, because it would cause problems with the house, right? But yeah, so we're looking, we want this to be a longevity. But the concrete retaining wall, from everyone I've talked to, it says it's just overkill and way more expensive in terms of what you were putting in, and not as good for the environment.
Well,
Concrete, but I don't know the engineering details because I'm not an engineer.
I think we would just like to see, who said this to you. I mean, maybe it may be completely legitimate, but we don't have any,
Okay,
we
yeah,
need-
I
we need
can
something.
I can reach out
A
to the builder and
landscaper,
get more.
they know how to stack rocks, and I'm not sure they're engineers. I mean, that's a serious
Yeah,
wall that we're looking at.
yeah, I can reach out and ask
Mhm.
who was proposing that, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, anybody that you heard this from, if they could write that down and give us, their
yeah,
credentials,
yeah.
that would
Well,
be.
my builder, and he wouldn't have said that without knowing what he's talking
You'd be
about.
surprised.
I'll definitely reach out to him.
So what would credentialize somebody? Is it specifically an engineer, or do you
I
want
wouldn't say an engineer,
number of people?
an engineer, because this is, it's a serious wall, I think. I don't think a 4-foot stone wall is going to hold that up. And maybe it will, but I would like to hear it from, somebody who knew more about than I do.
Okay.
But,
so-
aesthetically, and I think in essence, I don't have a problem with your idea, and I hope it works for you.
Okay, so the issue is really just, is it structurally sound?
Yes.
You want convincing evidence of that. But as far as architectural control, it's aesthetically good. You don't need to go through
I
another
think so, yeah.
around what we're proposing. Okay.
Yeah. Is that's
Yeah.
So if I just can get some documentation to you, then
Well, I think there's a difference between what I've heard often is walls underneath 4 feet don't need to be engineered.
right.
Right, if
Yeah.
you're stacking those
Yeah.
pillars or something, and well, those over 4 feet do need, and
Yeah.
so there's a difference between that and the designer saying you do need it or don't need it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
So that's what we're, a little more,
Little more information. Yeah. I'm happy to find that for you.
Could,
There were a few other things on the,
yeah, I mean, you could do a conditional, say, if the wall will exceed 4 feet, then provide engineering.
I would just like to avoid having the landscaper decide it's going to be 4 feet. I just need to hear from somebody else, I think.
Yeah.
so
But I
just
think
so
you-
that I'm,
I think our attitude toward this, where, I think we're okay with it, but we
Yeah.
do need a little bit more.
just to be clear, it's because even though we want to build only a 4-foot wall, because the wall does go higher than that where the dirt is, that's why it would be considered higher than 4 feet.
I'm sorry, I
think
didn't.
I'm not totally following what Joel said.
What my concern is, what will it look like then when you finally decide what the wall will look like? So I want to hear what an engineer says
Okay.
you need for the wall, and
Right.
then see what your solution is
Okay.
for that.
If there's,
Yeah, so I'll calculate.
yeah,
Right.
I get it. I get it. He said something that kind of triggered.
Yeah.
Okay, is there,
And again, this is something, this is a document that we're signing. We need a little
Right.
bit more
for
information.
sure,
So we don't need engineering that's going to be 4 feet or below.
Right.
But we want an engineer to confirm we don't need the concrete retaining wall.
right?
That's what
that's,
I understand.
Got it. We-
John,
and now
John
I'm-
has a question.
Yes,
The wall needs neighbors' approval because it's on the property line?
yes, we have it. I sent it to you.
Yeah, I think.
We have a
got the
written letter here.
No, it's here.
Yeah, we talked to her about that.
Yes,
when
I
we met.
got that as fast as I could. They were really nice about
He
it.
said thumbs up.
Okay. And I think there were steps and
Was that a separate?
I don't know. It's all in the same.
All the same thing.
Okay. Um,
It would be nice to have you weigh in on it.
Oh.
So that we wouldn't resubmit with this engineer and then you not want to accept the other things.
I didn't have any issues with that. Did you?
Good.
I thought
You,
the
Joe
only
Jean?
thing was no.
Oh, you didn't.
The creosote.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that they're going to use
Yeah, we
road
talked
ties.
about that. I think I was just thinking in terms of size of what the wood would be.
Yeah,
4x4
Right.
basswood,
Yeah, yeah.
regulator, Whatever.
Yeah,
It's
he
clar-
was
it's clarified in the policies.
describing them to me, and I was like railroad ties. Like,
Yeah, I
okay,
think
that's I know what that is.
So no, we're fine with that.
Yeah, okay,
But it's all in the same request, so we can't say yes to that, without saying yes. to
okay.
We understand.
But otherwise, there's no.
What else?
concern.
I didn't have any other issues.
No,
Thank you.
and trees were.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we'll, motion to deny as submitted. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Hold on. Don't have a response yet. He's with you.
All right, how about item 14, 38 Harborview Drive? Our friend Steve. Hey, Steve.
Hi, guys.
This was an issue with, something that had already been done and we're looking to approve it. And just to clarify, the way we look at these things is, as far as fines and things like that go, that's not part of our, what we discuss here today. But we would look at that as a drawing. We've already done it, but we'll consider it like a drawing and decide whether it should be approved. Although it's been done, if we would approve it if we saw it on paper. My opinion is that it does help your curb appeal for that house, and I mean it looks nice in the neighborhood. It's a good solution, and I think you even put an application in to weed the yard. Pretty good with that and the mulch. Anybody else have any issues about that?
I was just gonna admonish the homeowner for doing it and then seeking approval, but that's not, we get that, and it looks good. So I commend you in your efforts. Success.
Thank
I'll
you.
approve. I'm in a motion, Joe Jean.
I'll move to approve as submitted.
All
Can you
in
speak
favor?
Louder.
She moves to approve as submitted. Joe Jean. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
John says yes.
All right.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. Okay. Item
18.
13, John Gordon. This one was just a paint change, correct?
Correct.
Anybody have any issues with those paints?
Pending issue 13.
I don't have any issues.
Okay, so I will motion to approve item 13 as submitted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
He says aye.
All right. Number 18.
I'm sorry, which one?
18.
18.
I have since turned off the audio.
Okay. Got some issues with the arborist, right?
You should have an arborist report.
Second to last page.
So this first drawing,
That's the canopy plan.
so this would be amended based on what you heard from the arborist, correct?
Right. And there you go.
Mhm.
So I went by this property today, and there's an enormous Doug fir, I think, in there that I don't think is really on this drawing at all. Do you happen to know which tree I'm talking about?
No,
The huge tree. It's not pointed out at all in this plan. I'm not sure what the intention was.
sure it's on this property.
Yeah, yeah. It was to the right of where the driveway would be, I think, and pretty close to the front of the house. Yeah. Trying to get a good reference photo. It's just a bunch of trees. Yeah, it was staked kind of oddly. There were some kind of plastic toys outlining the perimeter of the house. Is that what that was? Did you see how it was staked out?
I haven't been there for probably a month now.
One of those three, yeah, I noticed their stakes look like. Not sure what it was, but yeah, it was some sort of a unconventional stake.
Can you project that? Or share it?
Yeah, I'll share it up here. It was one of these trees. There's the stake, the front right property corner
The
stake.
tree that I saw it was enormous. It was not flagged at all, but it seemed like it would definitely be close enough to the house that it might need to be cut.
So there is a big tree on the neighboring lot, which I believe Sudden Valley owns. That
So as you're looking at it on
was
the left
tagged,
is the
yeah,
Sudden Valley.
at the property line. And the arborist took that off because he said this is outside the property. And we don't know if there's any approval for it.
So after the arborist looked at it, it looks like just about every tree would be cut in the front except for a couple in the back. Is that right?
Pretty much. I think the yellow one, I think he mixed up his directions. He said east and west when he should be the other way, but I think the yellow one is conceivably savable if the driveway is far enough away. The green one is the one that's just over the property line.
Flagged for removal. I think we noticed that on the last meeting too. That was. So here's the front left property corner. And I believe it was this tree back here that was flagged for removal, but not it's on the other property.
Yeah, and
Is that right?
that ribbon was
That's the
probably.
yellow one? That's the yellow circle,
That would be the green one,
green one.
if it's over the line,
Oh,
just
yeah.
barely over the line.
Mhm. I think that's what that one is.
And if the ribbon was removed, that would explain why you didn't see it marked. but it is close. And if it is owned by Sudden Valley, then the committee may be interested in granting permission to have it out.
So when the canopy that is remaining is reviewed by the county, do they see it before or after these red and green ones are removed?
So I looked into how it works with the county, and I got sort of a cryptic response from Mike Kirschner. And I've tried to call him and email him back and haven't had a response, but basically what you're supposed to do is calculate how much canopy is coming out. And then you come up with a planting plan of various species and determine what canopy would be replaced in 20 years by those species. So that's kind of beyond my bailiwick. And I've asked the arborist if he could do that, and he hasn't gotten back to me yet. But it basically, you just submit everything to the permit department, and they, I guess, approve it or suggest changes.
Okay, well, I mean, I personally am a little concerned with the amount of trees that are gonna have to come down for this house. And even going on to the neighboring houses, properties too. And especially once I saw the arborist report, extra trees have to come out. It would be nice if we can get something, a different design for the house where you don't have to cut out all the trees in the front. Especially that huge one, which is, that's a really big tree. And it's a significant tree, and I don't really see where it's addressed in this drawing. Because I don't want it to just fall through the cracks and suddenly be cut down and nobody knows about it. I guess I'd like to see what the report would be from the county after you submit it with these arborist recommendations, because that's a significant change.
You remember which tree was it, Daniel?
It was almost in the middle of the property, not in the middle of the left to right of the property, but to me, it looked like it was right where the those little stakes were in the front.
Oh, the house corner stakes.
Yeah, I would think it would be right, maybe 5 feet in front of the property or the building lines.
This the corner. So this looks like this is the front left top corner.
John, so you know what's going on. Daniel has a picture on his phone and he's
Let me
showing
compare that to this.
Joel.
This one here.
It's very straight, like. It was very straight.
This one here. Yeah, but in photos. Looks like the right. That looks like the same corner here. it's a different one. I'm not sure.
It definitely wasn't ribbon collected.
Yeah, maybe somebody came and removed the ribbon. I'm thinking that's this one right here. And your angle is, you're taking it from this angle. So you're capturing this little skinny tree here,
Yeah.
and that's what this is right
Yeah.
here. Yeah, somebody came and removed the ribbon from it. Because this was taken when they first submitted and it was ribbon. So I think this is the tree. This is the tree that is in the circled there in the green. Says this tree was flag tagged for removal, but was not on neighbor's property. The green circle. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is that tree.
It was hard to tell with those little stakes.
Yeah.
Tell where the property, the house was.
And so maybe that's why they removed the ribbon,
Yeah.
because it wasn't on a lot. So
And
then they would
it's
need
not-
permission to remove that tree. And that lot is owned by Sudden Valley, SPCA.
Yeah, so currently it would not be tagged for removal if it's felt that it's close enough that it should come out. Sudden Valley has to grant permission. And then basically the contractor would add that to the list at his expense. Just like what happened at four Sweet Clover.
I don't feel comfortable with the size of the house pushing into those extra trees being cut. I mean, that's essentially clear cutting the whole front 2/3 of the property, and I'm not sure if there's much canopy left. How would the county consider that? I'd like to see what they have to say about it.
So my understanding is that the county basically says, okay, if you want to take these trees out, you feel you have to take these trees out, come up with a replanting plan, pick whatever species you want, but determine that what canopy would be replaced in 20 years. So they want enough, like there should be, I forget the percentage now, but there's some amount of minimum percentage of canopy.
Could you get us that, what the county is presenting as a mitigation plan, so we know when we look at this?
Well, the county doesn't do it.
Well,
So
we
the,
would make
the
recommendations.
owner has to come up with something, and that's why I'm suggesting that they hire the same arborist to do that.
I don't know if this is the same report, but it appears there is a canopy plan as part of
Yes.
the original.
So the gray marks,
Yeah,
hash marks are trees coming out,
you're right.
and up in the top left, on the page, in the top left, there's a legend
Right.
that says how much canopy remains and how much canopy is coming out.
Yeah.
So now the contractor feels I have to take out more trees. So, and several of those are dark green. So
Which
that
means they stay behind.
That means you're
They go
taking
down.
out canopy that's supposed to stay.
Oh,
So all these would go.
got,
So to mitigate that, you need to replant and, before final, get it approved by the permit department.
okay. So don't we need that?
That needs to be done
Okay.
at some point, before final time.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, what's proposed for a mitigation, and also maybe a better staking of the property and the trees that will definitely be removed. But I assume after the arborist report, those trees will come down, except for the one that's not on, that's not on this property. Correct? So you're proposing that all of these, except for the green one, would come down, correct?
The dark green in the front, there may be one in the back also.
I mean, I would feel better approving this if I saw this, the house actually staked out a little clearer and the mitigation plan. Because there will need to be a considerable mitigation plan if all of this is going to be cut down, as far as I'm concerned. Alan, do you have any comments about
No,
that?
I agree. So we're denying the submission 18 for, yeah.
Correct. And we would like to see your mitigation plan for this, and also the property staked a little better. And you'll see that tree I'm talking about. I want to confirm whether that is coming out or not. And I don't think it is the one on the side there, Joel. It seemed like it was right near where those little plastic stakes were, where I think the house was going to be, but I'm not positive. But it was a very significant tree. The biggest one on the property, I think.
Mhm.
So I think that was a motion in there.
Right.
Are you clear what our point is, John?
Yeah.
So we're recapping for Diane, we're denying the request pending the removal implementation plan and an updated stakeout of the house and
Mitigation plan.
the mitigation plan.
So the property corners don't need to be,
Property corners are fine. I'd just like to see exactly where the house is gonna.
that you think the
Be
house
situated.
isn't staked?
It wasn't clear to me.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
He's with you.
I'm hoping there isn't anything that we haven't talked tonight that's still a hang up.
That was the big issue for me. I didn't see anything else. And it looks like you already lowered the
So-
property, so the driveway's better.
Right.
That was my concern. Thank you, John.
Did we cover 8 Thunder Peak Way that may be on the phone? Item 13?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Got it,
approved.
John. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's everybody that's here, correct?
Yes.
All right, so we will go back up to item 3, 11T Place.
Unless there's any other discussion, I'll move to motion item 3 as submitted.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
He's with you.
Item 4, 7 Grandview Lane. Very clear direction on what they're requesting. In my mind, sensible requests. Any other opinions? Photos do help a lot.
Yeah.
Get a motion on that?
Sure, I'll motion to approve item 4 as submitted.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
He's with you.
Item 5, 2 Orchid Court.
These guys are in Belgium and they wanted to come to the meeting, but the time didn't quite work for them.
Hmm,
That for 2 Orchid?
yeah,
Okay. Okay, yeah, I was,
we got 2 of them.
okay. Yeah, so we looked at this property, I don't know, 6 months ago or so, I don't remember. And they had some-
January 4th.
Yeah, it looked like they had some really good ideas, and I think we were okay with the landscaping plan at the time. It seems to be consistent with what they're asking today. And in addition, there's a deck. Any comments on this?
Are you on 5 or 6?
This is 5 right now.
I got it. Pending any further discussion, I motion to approve 5 as submitted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 6,
Wait, I didn't get, okay, there we go. Unanimous.
so this was previously approved, and I guess it expired. I think we probably, I think it was unanimous on this, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I'll motion to approve item 6 as submitted.
all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, aye. I don't think I voted.
John
Aye.
is with you. John is with you.
Item 7. This one, I think we were asking for a maintenance approval for it. I think we were good with that idea in theory. It looks like nothing's really changed from the original design after maintenance looked at it.
Maintenance has not approved it, but they did look at it.
They looked at it, but yeah, I think we wanted to see if the design was going to change at all after maintenance looked at it, maybe alter the design.
Don't think that maintenance spoke with the homeowner.
So
So they went by and looked at it, but haven't had a chance to connect with the homeowner yet.
They didn't intend to. They just wanted to make sure they were okay
Okay,
with it.
all right.
In concept, Mike is fine with it, but the rest of it is up to you.
yeah, I mean, I guess I'm okay with it unless there's some drastic changes once they actually talk to maintenance, but as it's submitted.
Hey, a question on this. There was, this rock wall that's going in front of the wall that's already leaning. Are we going to see more engineering on that, or are we just going to say approved? Because that's what it's going to look like, right?
This is the
Or is that the
existing.
existing? That's existing.
This is existing, this is it, seeing what they're gonna.
And that's
gonna
new.
Be.
So they're not taking the old stuff out. They're just going to pile up those interlocking things in front of it. And any concerns about that much weight in front of a wall that's already leaning in that general direction, or are we just being overly concerned? Hello. And
I'm more concerned when an engineer approves a huge wall and then suddenly there's a change and somebody decides it doesn't need to be done anymore. Here, I don't know. I mean, I don't know I mean, does the county even look at this kind of thing, Joel?
It looks like they've indicated it's a 4-foot wall. They're saying it's 4 feet, it doesn't need engineering.
yeah, Okay.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, yeah, in my experience, if a wall is leaning, that may be an indication that there's some soil movement or erosion occurring, and it may need replacement to prevent some shoring up, because it can affect the house. Well, that's,
Then adding a hot tub.
yeah, I
on
don't
there.
know if you.
Yeah, well, hot tub's gonna be over on the side, but
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that.
mean,
The whole
yeah.
top patio deck is, the weight is on that
Yeah.
wall.
You can. I don't think you need to
Okay,
concern yourself. That's,
all right.
that's their concern and their.
And
Yeah,
Yeah.
at this point, it is not again, this is not a big concrete wall that suddenly is gonna be taken out because somebody decides they don't need it. This is just kind of beyond our our
What
scope.
kind of wall is he gonna build?
What kind of wall?
They haven't indicated that, 'cause they're calling it hex landscape blocks, but I
thought we saw an
Yeah.
example of it in a previous submission.
yeah, it was named by brand name.
Hmm.
It was an interlocking thing. I don't see it on this one.
Yeah, I think what we're looking at here is to see if they changed anything from the original design based on any correspondence with maintenance. I don't see anything different, and if they need to change it from this, if we approve this and they need to change it, they'll just have to give us an exterior alteration change.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
What's that?
Ghosts.
Is
Um,
it you, John?
The only thing I see is the addition of the culvert and the drains, but he talked about that as doing it part of it. You know, he was talking about doing the driveway and the heated driveway and such, and we're dropping that,
Yeah. so-
right? But, and then are we approving the parking in front? You remember?
Yeah, that's what we need to consider.
Okay,
And in my mind, and I think I made the argument last time, that it's consistent with the rest of the road. There's that kind of off-street parking, so it wouldn't be an outlier in my mind. Tojin?
I went by there today and it looks to me like the portion that on the street where he wants to make parking is already the same size as the other houses down
further down the street.
And theirs aren't any bigger than his.
Hmm.
And so I'm opposed to additional parking in the street.
So what would
Oh,
you?
John says parking is already there and Joe Jean is right.
John says you're right. Parking is already there. So what, I think they're just gonna add a culvert to that space. They're not gonna expand it, are they?
Looks like that's a ditch right on the other side. Right, that might be the
grass ditch?
ditch. Yeah, and that's where they're gonna put their culvert. Right before that first bush. Looks like there's a little bit of an edge of.
The difference in this lot and the one next door is on that, there's that
This one.
wall there. And he has the wall, but the other houses don't, so they
Mhm.
kind of, their cars tipped when they're parking in it because part of the car is farther into the ditch.
Isn't it?
And he has that concrete wall up there. And so that is what changes it. And the culvert is actually on the other side of that wall.
Oh, there's already one existing beyond the parking? There's already a culvert there beyond where the parking space is on the other side of it?
I think that this is a culvert underground right here. Probably it opens up there. This is a ditch right along here on the other side of that little, those blocks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the house next door is, they don't
Mhm.
have that concrete wall. They just have the culvert there.
Mhm.
And so it's easier for them to park in the culvert.
That's why on the plans here, they're showing, put in that below grade culvert extension, put in a catch basin. And gravel over it.
So are we leaning toward approving? or one, maybe not so much.
Are you, what if it was the same depth as the neighbor's parking? Would you be, yeah, because it looks like they're trying to expand theirs beyond what their neighbor has. So if they kept it to where the neighbor's wall was,
So are you suggesting that rather than expand their parking beyond their neighbors, but if they were to match their neighbors, you'd be okay with that?
If they took out that little concrete wall they have, then it would be just like the neighbors.
the existing wall or the proposed wall?
Trip. Go to the neighbors.
Yeah, don't trip.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's just a ditch. Gotcha.
So it would no longer be a ditch. It would just be flat, it would go straight out from where the,
It'd be filled in,
yeah, with the culvert.
yeah,
Yeah,
and paved over with crushed rock.
correct.
The other side of that wall.
Agreed. We're saying the same thing. I think we're all in.
Yeah.
You're saying that you want him to be able to cover that.
I thought his plans were to cover the
center
frustrating
post,
culvert. Right. That's why I said, so we're leaning with except one. So you want to
Leaning what?
leaning toward approving it with the exception of one person. We won't be unanimous, but we might be majority, depending on what John says.
Yeah. No, I'm just looking at
John,
the,
what do you say? He votes to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve item 7 as submitted.
did John already move to approve?
He said he would approve it
Oh, okay.
if somebody made a motion.
All right. Okay, all in favor? You move to approve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, aye.
John says aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
3-1.
Majority with Georgina.
Right.
I was on the fence on that one. Georgine's neighborhood.
Item 8 was the same with the for paint, right? I make a motion to approve item 8.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Making a motion to approve item 8 as submitted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous because he said yes.
Item 15, 4 Twin Flower Circle. This is an extension.
I'll make a motion to approve item 15 as submitted.
So this would be the first extension. All in favor?
Aye.
It would be a 6-month extension.
You want to give me a date like you did before?
Sure. So that would be 6 months from the 28th. 8, 9, 10. So February 28th.
Six months ending at February 28th.
Yes. 2025.
And John said approve.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Eugene? Okay.
Item 16, 6 Loganberry Lane. Another extension.
Move to motion to approve item 16. 6 months, same date,
Same date, yeah, sure.
February 28th. 5.
Oh, hang on. This is 6 Loganberry. So it would be 6 months from their expiration. They have a different
So 8,
start date.
7. Okay.
Yeah, so then we go to
So-
2/7, right? February 7th.
February 7th.
Okay. Did they, let's see. Did they get this extension in on time? Joel?
It says it was received on 8/6/2024 up in the top left corner.
A
So,
day.
so their expiration, yeah, was 1 day. Their start date was 8/7 and their expiration was 8/7/2024. Yeah.
Did you remind them?
They made it by 1 day. What's that?
Did you have to remind them?
There are reminders that do go out now.
Okay,
So they're automated,
okay.
Did y'all vote?
trying to.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
John said approved.
Okay, I think we're down to item 20.
Yeah. Yeah, we took a look at this one. Right?
Yeah.
I'll move to motion. Move to approve item 20 as submitted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
John says aye.
Okay, now we've got a deck and gazebo extravaganza. Again, this is something that's already been done, completed. Looks very nice. There was no approval for this and it's already in place and finished and so again, we would review this as a drawing, as an original request that before it's like it hasn't been done and consider it like that. Some of the things we would be concerned about would be how this would impact the neighborhood, the neighbors' view. So we would definitely want to see permission from neighbors for something like this because it is it's quite a structure. It looks beautiful. And I assume that neighbors would not have a problem with, but we don't know that. Because this is so significant. I would feel better if neighbors were good with this.
I agree.
Which neighbors?
Uphill neighbor.
There were several neighbors. This is in the middle of a lot of neighbors could see this place. And again, they did a really nice job. I probably wouldn't have any concerns if this were my neighbor. But again, we're looking at this like it's not been done yet. The plan to make a huge change to a neighborhood. It isn't just their yard, it is the whole neighborhood and a lot of neighbors may be affected. So I would like
John said there's 5 people in the back.
5, yeah, that sounds about right. I would like to get some opinions from neighbors, approval for such a big structure.
I'll move to deny item 21 pending written approval and agreement by the 5 surrounding neighbors.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
He says he's with you.
All right. 22, item 22.
You know, we were talking about this. I'll say partially in jest, partially in reality, that it would probably cost less to move the shed than it would be to cut down the 2 trees.
Actually, I was going to suggest that they move the shed.
Yeah, these are very significant trees. And that shed is pretty old, dilapidated. I would like to at least see an arborist report saying that there's some health reasons to cut these trees down because they look, from what I've seen, very healthy. And they've been there for a long time. Sure, a lot longer than the shed has been there. So I couldn't approve cutting these huge trees down just because they're close to a,
I move to deny item 22 pending submission of an arborist report depicting the health of the 2 surrounding trees.
all in favor?
I,
Aye.
John's with you.
Okay. All right, down to item 20. We covered everything else, right? Item 23 is an addition to our agenda, is the review of the AC policy changes. Most of these have been reviewed by the ACC and by the community. We had a meeting, I think that was in June, maybe?
Yep.
Presented this to the community and we got some feedback and we did review some of that feedback and made some minor changes. The most significant one, I think, that we're considering is a change in the way that we determine the height of these new constructions. Currently, there are 2 definitions for height. Do you have those drawings there, Joel, in the policy manual?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. I got a few documents here. Then these slides. I've never seen one for height. Saw the driveway changes.
Don't quiz me, but I didn't memorize it, but it was driveway ratio, side setback.
Yeah, these were all presented already, so that they're out there. People are aware of them. And we did clarify a little bit. Joanne clarified the wording on these a little bit so that they were clearer. But the one that I just proposed to her and talked to her and Joel about, and we would like to present to the board is the definition of the height of a house. There are two different definitions, and both of the definitions currently consider the final grade. Is that the correct term, Joel? And the proposed change would be to change it to the existing grade, which is measured before construction. So there's no building up of land to artificially build up the building site elevation. And that measurement, as I understand, is already being taken, and it's something that is recorded and can be used for a measurement when the house is completed. So that's the main change that I recently made and want to present to the board and to the ACC. And it's essentially just almost, I think, one word change, but I think the definition could be significant as far as the feedback we got from a lot of the residents about the overwhelming property or houses that are being built. So that would be my proposed change to them. And a lot of, Joanne made a lot of editing changes as far as clarity and definitions that would be included at the beginning of the policy manual. Any other discussion from the committee? Looking for your- Okay, so I move that the ACC recommend the Sudden Valley Board of Directors approve the ACC policy manual revisions incorporating the changes discussed this evening. All in favor?
Aye.
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 John's with you.
All right. So I think we will adjourn the meeting at 6:34.